Skidly-do, and welcome to the show. This is the 20th episode of Beating Obesity. It's all about how you can eat more food and still lose weight. I hope you all enjoy this episode. If you would like, you can go to timmaynardfitness.com and get your free ebook, What to Actually Eat. Just scroll down on the homepage. I hope you all enjoy the show. Well, hello, you fine and fabulous folks out there joining us across the World Wide Web, getting some information on how you can lose some weight and get all healthy and whatnot.
All that great jazz.
All that great jazz. You are welcomed on this fine and fabulous day by my brethren, Mr. Shun Baboon Maynard.
Hello.
And me, Mr. Tim. What was Tim?
Tim Majim Maynard.
Tim Majim Maynard.
That's all I can think of.
And we have some information to bring down to you wonderful people today and tell you a thing or two. So, I suppose we'll
dive in.
We'll hop up in that. Today we're going to talk about how you can eat more food, still lose weight.
Oh, pray. That's like the best part.
I'm giving the secrets here. Giving the way to do this. Of how you can just stuff yourself full and still drop them pounds. Because that's pretty well what I do every single day.
Barry, this is going to be the most famous podcast.
This is one
people are going to want to know this.
Set the internet on fire. People's heads are going to explode. They're just not going to even know what
after this one, Barry, we're going to get all kinds of deals going on.
People will get all kinds of excited. We're going to completely fix America's obesity problem with this.
With this single podcast.
As soon as this podcast gets across the airwaves, things are going to change. But no, seriously, most people think that you have to restrict and deprive to lose weight. And I guess, not going to
you
see...
have to restrict more certain foods than you do.
You're not going to see changes if you don't change things. Like, obviously. Like, I think that's, like, the minimum buy-in. Like, you're going to have to do things a little bit differently than you've always done. I'm like, it's just, like, the same thing that got you to where you were is not going to get you to where you want to go. But this is my personal belief that there's a easier way to go about it without having to always worry exactly how much is going into your mouth, counting every little thing, and... or weighing your food, or counting calories. Or
weighing your food? I've never heard that one.
People weigh their food all the time.
Well, you talking about just like for calorie reasons? Or?
Yeah, to know how much you're eating.
Oh, I thought you just meant like, I'm going to eat like 2 pounds of this meat. It's like...
No, like you would weigh like 4 ounces of chicken, and you had...
Gotcha.
200 grams of green beans and a 250 gram sweet potato, and then you can type it in your calculator and you know pretty well exactly how many calories and protein and carbs and fat you ate and all that. But I think for the average person there's an easier way to do that, and I'm going to hop into that, and I will say the very first thing is I'll give you like the secret to like long-term weight loss and health and feeling good the rest of your life. Right here, you follow this, and you can pretty well shut this podcast.
This is the fountain of youth, people.
All right, you want to mainly focus on whole, unprocessed foods, mainly plants. And there you go.
Get that plant protein.
Lots of whole, unprocessed plants, and that's going to fix a lot of most people's issues. And that's actually how I lost, personally, 90% of my weight.
Yeah, mostly just eating plants.
Just eating tons of plants. Didn't really count much. Didn't really track much. Didn't.
You just vegan for like...
I lost all my weight before that.
Well, I know. But you still eating quite a bit of plants.
Yeah, but that don't have nothing to do with it.
I know. Just talking about eating the plants.
I'm just saying.
Just eating the plants.
That I lost most of my weight that way. Without doing any special plan or any special diet or any special macro breakdown or anything like that. it was just eating a crap ton of plants as much as I wanted, whenever I wanted. Didn't restrict it to meals, didn't have to eat specific times, didn't have to cut it off so many hours before bed. So I took all of those other things that are popularized and go around and just did the absolute basics of eat lots of fruits and vegetables and cut out some of the junk. And, that really goes a long way. They don't have to be overly complicated.
Basically, instead of eating Twinkies, maybe get you a carrot with a little bit of humus.
Yeah, and not to mention the weight loss too. We'll get into that, but you're gonna receive some immense health benefits. Just eating a lot more fruits and vegetables, cutting out the sugars and trans fats and really processed oils, and you're just gonna be a much better running machine. You're just gonna feel a lot better not taking those heavy foods that spike your blood sugar and
a huge insulin dump.
Yeah, you get insulin dumps or trans fats that make your cells stiff. And
yeah, it's crazy.
Like once you cut that out, for one, just your health and stuff's going to feel a lot better. But two,
it'll improve for sure.
Fruits and vegetables in particular are absolutely filled with water and fiber, which makes a large volume of food with very little calorie density in it. So you can eat quite a few apples, quite a few plates of broccoli, or quite a few. You could eat a giant watermelon or bananas or cauliflower, and all of these, you can eat such a large amount, a ridiculous amount of food, probably more than your stomach can actually handle. And it still not be a ton of calories. Because, it has all the beneficial fiber that slows down digestion. So it'll make you feel more full anyways. If you just eat, plain bread, your body digests it super quick. Because it's just, there's no fiber or anything has to break down. So it just digests super quick. And it's basically all that sugar is then just immediately released into the bloodstream. You get a big spike, and then it starts to come down. You feel tired. But if you have something that's really fiber rich, it takes a while for your body to break down, and it's getting fed them carbohydrates a little bit at a time, and it's just so you feel more satiated longer, and you don't feel like an hour or two later like your stomach's empty. And, man, I could really go for a snack or something like that. You still feel like there's something being worked on down there. You just feel satiated. That really helps quite a bit, and fiber also has been shown to greatly help stabilize blood sugar, and that's a problem a lot of people have, is they have very unstable blood sugars. It can happen just over years, but just, crappy food. You have cupcakes and stuff or a muffin for breakfast, and you eat it, and it's immediately absorbed, and your blood sugar just spikes through the roof. And you get that little energy boost for a little bit, then it comes down, you feel tired. And then your body wants to get its blood sugar back up, so you start craving these sweet foods and stuff. So, if you can, for one, avoid those foods, you're going to avoid that. But then if you can also be getting a lot of fiber-rich foods, it's going to greatly help with that and just keep you fuller for longer. And you're going to also be cutting out the hyperpalatable foods. We've talked about that quite a bit on this podcast. And hyperpalatable foods are foods that have the right amount of sugar, salt, fat, and chemicals and texture in a process made just the right way to make it almost irresistible to put down. What's that Lay's commercial? Is it Lay's Bet You Can't Have One or something like that?
Oh, I think that's Pringles.
Pringles, but yeah,
it's something like that.
Because it's obviously you can't just have one because you bite into it and you're like, oh my God, they're just so crunchy and so salty.
You ever watched the movie Over the Hedge?
Yeah, 20 years ago.
Yeah, there's a scene in that. There's these chips called Spuddies.
Yeah.
And he goes, enough. It's just never enough.
Exactly. They just and when you eat those foods all the time, you're always getting these dopamine rewards in your brain because you have a reward system for really high calorie and then really high sugar and really high fat foods. So when they mix it all together, your brain lights up and is like, yo, buddy, this is awesome. Give us more of this. And each time that happens, you're flooding your brain with a lot more dopamine than you would if you just ate a strawberry, like a sweet strawberry. That's going to be manageable. But when you eat these super high palatable foods, it in a lot of ways overrides your reward systems. And for one, drives you to eat more then, because it's just, whoa, it's so good. It's nothing, like you've had nothing this good before. And then two, if you do that enough times, those receptors start down regulating themselves, so they aren't affected as much. And then that starts the process of having to eat more and more and more of those same hyperpalatable foods to get the same feeling of like relief or that nice little jolt of energy or just whatever it is. It takes so much more. So as you can see, like, I think it's starting to get stacked against you in a lot of ways if you're just relying on like eat less, move more. Like it works to an extent, but in a lot of ways it's stacked against you to succeed at, where I think this is, it kind of stacks the things in your favor. Obviously, it's challenging cutting out sugar and processed fats and things like that, junk food basically. But
yeah,
but if you can do that, it just really sets everything up in your failure or in your favor to succeed. And there's also a lot of it's been shown it affects the way foods digest, the nutrient composition of them. But they're also looking now that it may affect satiety. So, like if you eat a cookie that they don't have really any fiber or phytochemicals or really any natural vitamins or minerals, your body isn't really being able to absorb what it needs to use. But if you eat an apple that comes, the vitamins come wrapped up in the fiber, and the sugar comes wrapped up in the fiber and the water, and it's meant to digest that way. They're starting to think now that can help satiate you too, because your body is being able to properly absorb the nutrients it needs, and it ain't constantly trying to get you like, man, we ain't getting no B6, we need to get, this, we need to eat some of this or that, or our magnesium's low, so let's eat all this chocolate and stuff like that. And so, yeah, and another big one is you need to, you can do it to an extent if you're using it as a meal, like a smoothie or something, but you got to stop drinking your calories. Like, you got to, like, sitting down with a Pepsi or something, like 2 or 3 of those, like, you've had a meal's worth of calories in just pure sugar. Like, that's, like, it adds up so quick, and you don't get any satiation from that. All that does is, most of the time they're really sugar sweetened beverages. So they jack your blood sugar up, dump insulin, just leave you craving more and wanting more, and they do nothing for appetite satiation, and you're just dumping calories in with each sip. So like,
they are delicious, though.
Don't drink your calories. Find teas. There's teas, coffee, water. You can flavor your water with different things. Find different alternatives, but you have to quit drinking your calories. And so I think the best way to really go about this, and we've talked about it a little bit before, is to focus on the calorie density scale. Because if you learn this general scale, you can kind of learn how to portion out all your food. And then just at a glance, you can judge how much of what you can eat. So we'll go through the calorie density scale a little bit. And it starts with vegetables. And vegetables are about 100 calories per pound. So that means you could eat a pound of vegetables and get around 100 calories. Now, things like kale and spinach are a little bit on the lower end. And then and then some other slightly more starchy vegetables are going to be on the higher end, but roughly, 100 calories per pound. Now, if you look at that, that's like you could eat 5 pounds of just steamed vegetables, and that's only going to be 500 calories. And no one's eating 5 pounds of steamed vegetables.
Yeah.
But that shows you, you can eat as much pretty well, especially non-starchy vegetables, gut yourself on them if you want, as long as they don't mess up your digestion, I'd say just, make yourself sick on them if you want, literally,
if you really want it to.
But it's going to be hard to, because, they're not, it's hard to overeat squash and broccoli and carrots, but it's so much easier to overeat brownies or Pop-Tarts or hamburgers or hot dogs or something like that. So that's kind of a little bit like the regulation I'm talking about too. Like after you eat so much of like the vegetables and stuff, you're just going to feel full, you're going to feel bloated, and you're just not going to want no more. To whereas if you're constantly like having French fries and then eating ice cream afterwards, like those two opposite spectrum hyper palatable foods, like you're going to be able to put that like tons of calories of that away. And the next one goes up to fruit, which is 300 calories per pound, which is a little bit higher, but still pretty low. So you can so with the vegetables, you can go all out, much as you want. Don't limit yourself a little bit, and then you can do almost the same with the fruit, but just be a little bit more aware that it's a little bit higher, and just so you'll want to eat a little bit less of it than you would the vegetables. And then the grains are 500 calories per pound. I'll just go through this. Legumes
go for it.
are 600 calories per pound. Meats are 1,000 calories per pound. White flour and refined carbs are 1,400 calories per pound. Candy and junk food is 2,300 calories per pound. Nuts and seeds are 2,800 calories per pound. And oils are about 4,000 calories per pound. So, as you can see, there's a lot of discrepancies between...
Imagine trying to eat a pound of oil. Just like an actual pound of oil.
But as you can see, there's some discrepancies between like the vegetables and the fruits and like the nuts and seeds and oils. And part of that is, fat has higher calories per gram, but that gives you an idea of how you can portion out your food and still pretty well eat as much volume as you want, just of different categories. So you could have a plate of food that weighs 5 pounds, and you have another plate of food that weighs 5 pounds. But depending on the breakdown of those foods, the calories are going to be extremely different. So they weigh the same.
What's on the plate?
They weigh the same, and one plate may take up 5 plates because there's so many fruits and so many vegetables, and then that it takes up so much volume. 5 plates. And then like one plate may have the same amount of calories with just a really fatty steak.
Yeah, it's a giant steak and
that's been cooked in a lot of butter.
French fries dipped in oil.
And then you have oil fried French fries on the side, and then you have like this small little plate that is the exact same amount of calories as like the 5 or 6 plates that's filled with fruits and vegetables. So that doesn't mean that you can't have like the steak, or you can't have like the rice, or you can't have the nuts and seeds, or put a little oil on your salad or whatever.
How much you're using them.
That just allows you, like, those are the foods that you don't want to eat unlimited amounts of. But there's some foods that you can pretty well eat unlimited amounts of. So when you go to make your meals, you can really use this to balance it out. And I'm a volume eater. Like, some people like smaller, more dense meals that they don't feel like they have to eat as much to get full. I'm more like, I want to eat as much as I can.
Eat as much as possible.
Eat as much as I can because I'm a food lover, and still get the results I want. So usually when I'm making my meals, with the vegetables, I'll just go hog wild. And I put more than I think I could probably even eat on it. And then let's say you're moving on down the list, and you would start with vegetables. Literally as much as whatever kind of vegetables you fix, you can use different spices and cook them different ways to make them crunchy and way more tasty. And then, like, let's say you have so you have your veggies, and you just have one giant plate full, and then you would have, like, let's say some brown rice, and it's 500 calories per pound, so you can still have a decent portion, but you have to realize that's 5 times more than the vegetables. So you're going to put literally 5 to 1. Like, you can eat 5 to 1 on that. It means you don't have to make your meal like that. But then you can go on to legumes, which is 600 calories per pound. And then you can go on to meats, which are 1,000 calories per pound. And you can see it jumps up there. So you can still eat as much food as you want.
So how much...
And you can still eat the same actual meal.
How many ounces are in a pound? 16?
Yeah.
So they're 1,000 calories per pound.
Approximately. It depends.
See, because we had some steak today, and it was pretty delicious.
I had some salmon.
So I had a 10-ounce sirloin steak. I wonder how many calories that was.
Probably about 1,000.
Well, it's 6 ounces shy of a pound.
Oh, you said 10 ounce.
Yeah, it's a 10-ounce. So, probably about
700.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
650, 700.
Of course, I had a lot
like
of fries and stuff too, but I was just kind of...
Yeah, I'd say those jacked up.
It's probably ended up being almost 1,500, 2,000 calorie meal.
Yeah. But you can have actually the same meal and even the same total volume of food, and there'll be wildly different calorie intake. So let's say you had like a black bean, chicken, rice, vegetable dish. Well, one dish could have way more chicken, way more rice, and then go easy on the beans and go easy on the vegetables, and it's going to be like a really calorie dense, and maybe they add some little oil on it or something, and that's going to be a super calorie dense a meal. Whereas the other bowl may be mostly vegetables, and then just a little bit of grains, and then just a little bit of legumes, and just a little bit of chicken. And like it may even be like even half or less the calories. So I think that's a good way of being able to have pretty well any meal the same and just adjust the ratios based on your goals. And this works for if you're trying to gain weight or trying to put on muscle and things too, to where you can be like, okay, I need to get more calories in. So I know vegetables are important, but I'm not going to eat 4 or 5 plates of vegetables because that's going to be 0 calories. I'm going to like load down on a little bit of some of the meats, and then I'm going to add some nuts and seeds, some fattier things, and then maybe I will cook in a little bit of oil because I can afford the calories. Whereas somebody who's wanting to slim down, they would maybe cut back on cooking oils because it's such a high, you know what I mean? Like, so basically you can play with these ratios and easily adjust your calorie intake just by the category of food you're intaking.
Yeah, it's just like...
And then, based on the category of food you're intaking, you can still eat as much as you want. You just change the ratios of the different foods on the calorie density scale.
So how many calories you say was in a pound of oil? 4,000?
About 4,000.
I'm not going to name any names, but it's just like when you're cooking already pretty high, like processed cornbread flour, and you just smothering that in oil. It's like, it's just not good for you.
No, it's just absolutely loaded.
Even if you're just eating a piece of bread that's got like soaked in like half a pound of oil, it's like, geez.
Yeah, oil is one that people miss a lot. Like, not all of it's terrible, but some of it's not great to cook in.
Well, it's different if you're using especially like canola oil and stuff like that. But it's different if you're using like a little bit of natural, like organic, like just cream and milk butter, like just like a tablespoon of it versus using like just like a cup of like canola, like
well, in a lot of ways, oil is just, I mean, it's a processed food. I mean, you're taking like some kind of vegetable or some kind of fruit or nut or something,
taking all the oil,
and you're getting rid of everything else except for there's the pure fat in it, which is the most calorie dense part, and you're not getting any of the fiber or very many of the nutrients.
Yeah, and they give you a 6 or 5 pound bottle. Like, it's massive.
Yeah, so oil's one to be careful on. A lot of people go hog wild with it because they think, and olive oil, like a little olive oil on your salad, or using a little bit of coconut oil or something, it isn't bad.
Oil's not terrible for you. It's just don't.
But you have to realize that 1 tablespoon, and this is a real good example, that 1 tablespoon of oil is 120 calories. 1 tablespoon. That's like a little spoonful.
Yeah.
Whereas a whole pound of vegetables, a whole pound is 100 calories. So you could take a whole pound of vegetables, like a whole plate.
Yeah, it's like full. Which one would you rather have? Would you rather have this whole plate of vegetables or this 1 teaspoon of oil? Or would you like
1 teaspoon of oil? And that would be, like a meal. They're almost exactly the same calories, but as you can tell, like if you ate a plate stacked full of a pound of broccoli and cauliflower and carrots, that's going to fill you way more up than 1 gulp of
one tiny little
coconut
teaspoon
oil.
of oil.
So that's how you can really think about the calorie density scale, and it really is a trick. You know, you still have to eat healthy. You can't eat crap, but it does show that you can include some junkier things. Just you're gonna have to eat way less portions of it. But this is a way that you don't have to actually starve yourself, and you can still eat as much of volume as you want. You can still eat to be as full as you want. Just you have to choose it the right amount from the right category. And I would Google the calorie density scale. It can really help. You can look at it easily, and then base the amount of food you eat from different categories based on those calories. And I hope that helps, and I hope that gives away the secret to being able to eat more and still lose weight. What do you think of that one?
I think you gave people we really need to be charging for that kind of information. Right?
Changing lives.
That's like back in the vault under key and lock. You just give it out for free. Like, you a madman, bro.
Anyways, if you enjoyed this episode, I would greatly appreciate it if you would leave us a review and subscribe. You just have to go to your app, and even if you're already subscribed, you have to search for the podcast, Beating Obesity, and then you'll go and leave us a little review. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you want to get a hold of me or learn more, you can go to timmaynardfitness.com. And on the homepage, you can also scroll down and get a free ebook on what to actually eat, a beginner's guide to nutrition. I hope you all have a fantastic day. And until next time, this has been the Beating Obesity Podcast. Bye.